Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. So Hillary Clinton is back. Hillary Clinton wants to have a role in the 2018 midterm elections. That's great. Seeing as she had a role in putting Donald Trump in that office, and seeing as she had a role in making sure Democrats then went back to Senate, I'm so sure this will go swimmingly. I asked my wife, I said, hey, you know, Hillary Clinton is coming back for the midterms. She says, oh, that's great. I said, what could she do that would help people win their elections? And she said, Hillary Clinton should find the person who Democrats don't want to win and support that particular person. That's the best chance that Hillary Clinton got. This article is amazing. This is The Hill. There is a tone deafness about this. Like, the reason why Democrats lose is they're acting as if this is a question. Like, why don't we get these other voters? How we keep losing to these guys? These guys are right-wing extremists. How are we losing over and over again? How did our candidate lose to reality shows? How? The problem is the answer to those questions repudiates everything that you are. It repudiates everything that you are. What I mean by that is you would have to change your entire way of being if you want to have an honest conversation about how you get those people to vote for you again. Let me read part of this article. Hillary Clinton wants to play a role in the next year's midterm elections. It's just not clear yet what the role will be. Clinton has already launched a pact aimed at helping congressional Democrat candidates in 2018, signaling the former First Lady, Senator, and Secretary of State is ready to help her party with fundraising. She's also looking at the House districts she won last year's presidential contest against Donald Trump as part of an autopsy of her failed campaign, according to two sources who have spoken with the former Secretary of State. That autopsy was never made to light. Not that I'm aware of. Not an honest autopsy. Not an honest autopsy. The moment that they lost, or the moment Sanders lost the primaries, and the moment that Democrats lost the election, they immediately went to this unity tour, claiming that they were completely united. At the same token, Tom Perez and people who wanted Tom Perez in that particular position, slandering and smearing Keith Ellison, because Keith Ellison was seen as a progressive person in that race, in the DNC congressional race. And ultimately, they assumed that Keith Ellison was going to be the standard bearer, or the one who's going to win. Progressives looked at that race as a litmus test. Has the Democratic Party learned any lessons? And the answer to that was no, they haven't. They stuck a knife in Ellison at the 5-yard line, calling the man anti-Semitic and all sorts of stuff. They put Perez in that seat. Perez went on to get shit on by a bird in certain places, to get booed in other places. This unity tour never caught on because everybody understood there was no unity. You're trying to convince people of a lie that people full well know and understand is a lie. You've lost 15 million people. 15 million people, if not more. That's the opposite of unity. That's the opposite of unity. Meaning if you're going to consistently try to convince people of something that's completely not true, those people are probably going to dislike you, and ultimately they're going to realize that you're consistently lying to them. An honest autopsy has to take into account cheating Sanders. It has to. It has to get rid of this idea of unity stuff, and it has to confront what does the party believe in. And until you can have that honest conversation of what the party believes in, this other stuff is just optics. It's just optics. Here's the thing. Well, it's at least possible she'll lend a hand on the campaign trail, particularly in the 23 districts held by Republicans, where voters preferred her over Donald Trump for the White House. Here's the thing, though. Donald Trump is not necessarily on the ballot. It's another Republican. Now, yes, those people preferred Hillary Clinton when it was a contest between her and a reality show host. What does that have to do with the midterms? Yes, some people may take it as a referendum to vote against Trump in this case, looking at Trump as being, he is the epitome of the party, and because he's the epitome of the party, whatever the Republican is on the ballot, it's almost like they're saying he's going to pay for Trump's sins. That may be true. I mean, to some degree, that may be true. But that also may not be true. Meaning, I don't know if having a campaign with two of the most hated candidates in the history of candidates, literally, and that's not hyperbole, that's literally how it was in polling. If that's an odd choice, like that's not a it's not like you're bringing star power to the mix. Those people voted for Hillary Clinton just by virtue of who she wasn't. If there was a ham sandwich on the ballot, I suspect they probably would have voted for the ham sandwich. Now, granted, I'm assuming that these people, for the most part, are Democrats. So understand what I mean by that. I just mean, let me put it this way. In a primary contest, nobody knew who Sanders was. This guy came out of left field, just out the wilderness somewhere. He was 60 points down, was able to make up that 60 points, and even in the headwind of cheating, was able to pull within, pull 40-something percent, 46% of the party. That's an amazing achievement, considering that nobody knew who Sanders was. Now, I'm making the point that it's not that Hillary Clinton was all that popular. People knew who she was, but that name recognition wasn't necessarily a positive thing. I wager that these people more so voted for her over Trump because of who she wasn't, not necessarily who she was. You may have some diehard Hillbots, but if they're talking about they're going with the strategy that Hillary Clinton is going to be dropped in and she's going to be this factor, this X factor that's going to pull people over to the Democratic Party, I'm saying that the people who are on the ballot are not the two most hated candidates in the history of candidates. And they may not necessarily look at each particular person, meaning that Republican, as being Donald Trump. You know what I mean? They may not necessarily look at him as being a stand-in, or Donald Trump as a stand-in for their particular Republican. I guess I'm trying to say it's somewhat of a weird election when the two people on the ballot are the two most hated people on the planet. And when you're running a campaign that purely depends on, I'm not Donald Trump, vote for me because I'm not Donald Trump. Does having the benefit of not being Donald Trump, it didn't win you back the Senate. It won Trump the presidency. You're using that strategy here to some degree of saying Hillary Clinton being dropped in. But you must understand that works when the person is popular. That wasn't the campaign she ran. She ran a campaign of not being somebody else, not I'm just awesome and you should vote for me because I'm completely awesome. Just saying, if that makes sense. I'm hoping I'm explaining that right. I just think that it's not like dropping Obama into a place where Obama has this huge amount of star power, this presence about him. Even when he was doing all these ghastly things in that office, he still had a large contingent of people who loved the guy. You still have libs right now pining over him. He was a failed presidency, but they are still pining over him. I'm saying that's the level of star power that I'm talking about. Hillary Clinton didn't run that campaign of I'm awesome because of who I am. I'm just better than that guy. That guy is a monster. That was the campaign. I'm saying that's the difference in those things. Look, Hillary Clinton is the epitome of everything wrong with the Democratic Party. That's the honest to God truth of the matter. They full well believe that this thing is a thing of language. We just need to change our language. We need to sound more progressives. We need to show to these people that, hey, we're not all that bad. We can talk a particular language. We can be quote unquote progressive, whatever that means. We can talk in this flowery rhetoric. We can do that. We can do that. Don't you like us now? No, we still don't like you because nobody believes it. Believe it or not, you have a drag on your heels. The last 8 years. The last 8 years is a drag on your heels. Maybe not to other Hillbots, maybe not to other Obamaites, people who are still in the clouds about that presidency. But Donald Trump, a reality show host, beat Hillary Clinton. Status quo 101. She was supposed to be Obama 2.0. If people went to Trump in that way, meaning if you had a candidate who by all metrics, Hillary Clinton should have won the race. If you have the populace that's that much against status quo, you have a problem. You have a fundamental problem. The Democratic Party is, for the most part, status quo. That's who they are. That's They're the protectors of the establishment at this point. If that's the case, and you have 8 years of that, where you had options, you had things that you could have done, you had absolute power at one point, at least in the political sphere. You didn't use it to the betterment of the people per se. You moved incrementally. Now, the problem is you're comparing that incrementalism to this idea of hope and change. Those are massively different things. Hope and change is not incremental movements. It's not. Now, you can make a case that says, well, hope and change doesn't mean anything, and I'd agree with you. It doesn't really mean anything. But the problem is, whatever it means is specific to the person who's hearing it. And that's going to be their benchmark of comparison. And if they're saying to themselves, this guy said hope and change, and he gave us a right-wing healthcare bill that's failing, he expanded these military policies of George Bush, he was attacking the press, he even put in situations that would prevent Medicare from interacting with drug companies. Even this whole Russia narrative garbage. Even the pipelines. Like, even the environmental thing. I'm always maddened, or it always annoys the hell out of me when people say, hey, he passed that environmental thing, that Paris Agreement. I get it. And kids used to get under their desk during nuclear fallout. Or that's what they were taught. Hey, in case a nuclear bomb drops, get under your desk. Your wood desk will protect you from a nuclear bomb. I'm making the point that the measures that they're taking with things like the Paris Accords is not enough. And there's no way you can, in one hand, push an oil pipeline, and then on the other hand say, hey, I'm trying to do something about the environment. You're taking incremental steps on something that needs something far more than incremental steps to actually avoid. That's what I'm getting at. It's like, you need to be a certain height to get on this ride. Yes, there are incremental changes. No, Hillary Clinton was not going to destroy the EPA, but also no, she wasn't going to do anything about climate change. If you're going to tell me that you're going to push the TPP, but you care about climate change, that's laughable. You can't push the TPP and say you care about workers' rights or workers' wages or income inequality or any of that stuff. I'm making the point that you can't use this rhetoric of hope and change and then turn around and do things that are ghastly. They're ghastly. And pretend as if the only comparison in this thing is between me and him. As if it's a binary choice. It's not a binary choice. People could choose neither. And I argue that a lot of these people chose neither. You can look at some of the tickets or some of the ballots. People filled out everything else and left out the presidential slot. They couldn't make a choice. They couldn't make a choice. That's how dispirited the public was at that point. But hey, keep on digging that ditch. If you honestly believe that Hillary Clinton, that throwback to the past that lost 2 presidential elections, is going to be the X factor in this, good luck with that. Good luck with that. I'm immensely disbelieving. I'm immensely skeptical of this. If you want to change things and if you want people to win, your path is pretty straightforward. It's Sanders. That's your path. If you're looking for a revitalization of the left, that's your path. The problem is you don't want to do that. You want to use a language because language allows you to remain who you are and hide between words that don't mean anything. That's not necessarily the message that you want. If you're a Democrat, the thing that you need to be getting across is, hey, you can trust us. We went in the wrong direction. We're trying to do a new path forward. And you can tell by the new path forward, by the things that we say, by the things that we espouse, and by the things that we actually are going to support. That's your path forward. Do you honestly believe that Hillary Clinton gives you that path forward? I just don't see it. I think this is an insane idea. It's one thing if she wanted to help from the shadows. But this isn't a newspaper. Like, this is not her working in the shadows. This is her being vocal. I want to be a part of this. I want to be a part of this. I want to be a part of 2018 midterms. Okay. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. If this backfires and Democrats lose the filibuster in the Senate, oh man, that's going to be a sad day. That's going to be a sad day because that would be a third repudiation of the public saying, no, we don't like her. We told you we don't like her. No. We'll see. We'll see. Hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Hillary Clinton is the X factor in this thing, and she's pulling people left and right to the party based on something that she's doing that she could not pull off during either of the other 2 presidential elections. So maybe I'm wrong. Highly skeptical. Alright guys, if you enjoy the content, feel free to share, rate, subscribe. You can always support the work through PayPal or Patreon. Thank you.